Stages like this, I'm definitely more switched on, and I know that I have
just how dynamic it is shaping up to be compared to previous years.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Sagan in previous years has been relatively unchallenged for the green jersey battle. He's won it, he's going on like his 8th consecutive green jersey, minus the 1 year he was kicked out of the tour and Michael Matthews won. So it is interesting to see him being challenged by none other than Sam Bennett, who is now tied on points with him. Sagan still holding the green jersey based on his position in the general classification, though.
It's an interesting tactic that Dakuna Quickstep employed, because this intermediate sprint that we had today, Sam Bennett positioned Michael Morkov right behind him to create just an extra buffer zone between Sam Bennett and anybody else going for points. And that worked really well. What we saw in the background, though, was Peter Sagan just getting jostled around, looking, not really up to the task. He has just been, pretty much unopposed in his quest for intermediate sprints for, a vast majority of the stages of the Tour de France for the past better part of a decade. A lot more sprinters are taking an interest in it this year. For Sam Bennett, I personally kind of think that he's seeing, after a couple good finishes, he had the opportunity to take the green jersey today. And I think that may just be kind of a mid-race game, because if it comes down to Peter Sagan or Sam Bennett, Sagan is just able to do more in the hilly stages. Sagan is going to have a much better time riding breakaways and going for intermediate points than Sam Bennett is. So I think the Quick Step wanted to just put the jersey on his back for a while, see how it would go. Sam Bennett did accomplish tying Peter Sagan in points, but because the two of them are tied at the end of the stage, Peter Sagan is going to keep the green jersey going into tomorrow's stage because he is higher than Bennett on GC. That's just how the technicalities worked out today. But a lot of other interest in the green jersey as well. Matteo Trentin, Alexander Kristoff is right up there as well. So I'm just personally looking forward to seeing how this battle unfolds throughout the rest of the tour.
This is a long, hard Tour de France, and that is Peter Sagan's thing. I mean, that is how he wins these green jerseys, because Sam Bennett might be up in the running in week 1. Caleb Ewan might get in there in the mix, Alexander Kristoff. But once we get into these mid-mountain stages in week 2, we've already seen Peter Sagan going up the road on a mountain stage. And that is what differentiates Peter from other potential green jersey winners. We are not going to see Sam Bennett going in a breakaway. I hope that I eat my words on that one. I would love to see Sam Bennett going up the road in a mid-mountain breakaway, but he's going to be saving his legs to try and make it to the Champs-Élysées and win in Paris, where Peter is a master of winning these intermediate points in week 2 and week 3 of the Tour de France. What you've touched on earlier, Michael, is going to be interesting to see if Matteo Trentin and Wout van Aert, unfortunately, is probably not in the running this year for the green jersey, given his domestique duties for Jumbo-Visma, which we will get into here in a little bit. But potentially some challengers in week 2 and 3. But I'm not putting a lot of stock in what we're seeing in the green jersey battle right now. Yeah, it's interesting, and Peter Sagan might not look totally on his game, but time will tell come week 2.